What do you think about life to be compared with a road? Yes, a road. That is why today we are going to study the poem A Road Not Taken. Okay, the road not taken. So basically, here the road is symbolizing life's decision. Welcome to Minshi Academy. I am Janavi, your English teacher, and today we are going to read or dive deep into the poem written by Robert Frost, The Road Not Taken. This poem is one among the most famous poems written by the poet Robert Frost. And here in this poem, the poet very philosophically compared the road which was less traveled by other people with the less chosen decisions in life by people. So here is a very beautiful comparison of both a physical road which is getting used as a metaphor in this story, and how life's decision which you yourself are solely taking uh, without knowing the consequences and searching for the hints of that consequences to be seen. So this poem revolves around that. Let us dive deep into that. So before starting, we will get to know about the poet. Okay, so poet Robert Frost. This well known poem is about making choices, as I said, and the choice that shapes us. Okay, every decision, every choice you make actually is building you more and more up as how you are in the present, or in the future how you would be. That is why people often say that human beings, they do change as per time, right? So your decisions actually shape you. Hence this poem, with the philosophy of that only, the poet has described the very physical path of a forest kind of environment with the decisions we take in life. Okay, then Robert Frost is an American poet. To know about him, you must read that. Who writes simply but insightfully about common ordinary experiences. Okay, now taking decisions in life, everybody does, right? You are always taking decisions in your life every day about everything. Even if you are um, being asked by your mother that what would you like to have in dinner, beta? So when she asks you that, so you are like, okay, mummy, just make me some uh, dal, chapati, and all. Okay, or you tell her to make something exotic, right? So here also you're choosing something, right? Now it is a very common thing. What about those decisions which involves a lot of your life? For example, your career, your marriage. Okay, when you are having your children in future. Now you're too small or too young to understand these things. Later on, you will grow up and understand that as well. Okay, so let's get started with the poem's words which are there framed. Okay, so these lines are themselves very much deep. Let's see what it is going. Like two roads diverged in a yellow wood. And sorry, I could not travel both. And be one traveler, long I stood and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth, then took the other just as fair. Okay, so basically, here we are first getting two lines. So let us break the whole poem in two different lines. The first stanza at least, that two roads diverged in a yellow wood. You can see that in the forest kind of uh, place, this man is standing. Okay, so here Frost is narrating that this person is himself, and he's seeing that these two ways got separated. Diverge means the route got separated from one to another route. Okay, so they got in different directions. So two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry, I could not travel both. How a person can even travel in two ways in the parallel timing? It is not possible, right? So that is why here he says that I'm sorry, I could not travel both, because he is only supposed to choose one. So here's the explanation as well, that these lines describe a moment when the speaker comes to a fork in the road while walking through a forest in autumn, yellow wood. Okay, okay, there is one poetic device, that yellow wood, which is symbolizing metaphorically the autumn season, and the roads represent here, as I told, that the life's choices has been uh, compared with the metaphor of the road. Okay, so the speaker feels regret that they cannot explore both the paths. Okay, just as in life, we must often choose one direction and leave other behind. Okay, for example, after your 10th exam, so you are going to choose only one stream, either arts or science or commerce. So whatever you are choosing, you can't choose the another one, right? You can't choose the another one. This is the very reason. Okay, the same thing here is also getting represented, that the poet could choose only one path, not both. And then in the upcoming lines, that and be one traveler long I stood. He himself was the only traveler. We ourselves are the only one who is living this one life. Okay, we are the only one who are living this life. Next, what it states, that and looked down one as far as I could. Okay, so here the description, you can say, in this line, the traveler stands alone at the fork in the road, thinking very deeply. He looks down one path as far as possible, like he's trying to see where it leads before choosing that one path. Okay, so before making decision, we are very uncertain that I am taking this decision, so what is going to happen later? Okay, so it shows his careful thinking and the uncertainty about which way to go in life. Okay, so which way to choose, it is a very big question for him at that certain point. Okay, sometimes that happens, that whatever life throws at you, you are not very certain that which path you must choose, and you think before taking the decision, and it's obvious, and you should. Okay, so next lines we are having, that to where it bent in the undergrowth, then took the other just as fair. Okay, so undergrowth means a dense growth of shrubs. Okay, the plants and other plants, especially under trees in woodland. Okay, like this shrubs, you can, I think, hopefully you can see this shrubs. So to where it bent in the undergrowth. Okay, like this very path, you can see this undergrowth. Hmm. Then took the other just as fair. So what is the explanation for this comes, that the traveler saw that the first road bent and disappeared into the bushes, so he chose the second road. It looked just as good and inviting as the first one. This shows how both choices in life can seem equally appealing. So, in this statement, okay, in this very explanation of what the poet had depicted, is that sometimes you have been, given choices, like there are options that you can choose either this or this. So the first one is almost appealing to you to be much impressive, and the second one is not that bad. They're as good as each other. So sometimes when you see both of them as of your future, so they both seem nice, and hence the very same thing has happened physically in the metaphorical philosophy of this poem, that the second path he when he chose, after seeing that the first path went into the shrubs, okay, so he realized that the second path was equally appealing. Okay, let's dive into the other half of the poem, that states us that, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that the passing there had warned them really about the same. Okay, it is beautiful. This depiction is beautiful. So basically, this line, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Okay, wear means a road or destroy by friction use. For example, if you are even using one remote, okay, suppose everybody has television at their homes. Okay, so you will see the remote of your set top box either, or your TV, you'll see that there are imprints of your fingers, like you are using your TV for almost so many several years. Okay, so by just like hitting on the buttons, okay, so there is that imprint of your fingers. Similarly, the very much traveled paths, okay, there are the imprints of the grass that they got just torn or destroyed by the footprints of people, because that path is much chosen. But here the poet is choosing something that was less chosen, and that decision was special. That is getting the metaphor, uh, you know compared to life's decisions which are unique. Okay, so the less uh, chosen path he traveled was the decision in life which was less chosen or less taken, or a very special decision. Okay, so this is the comparison basically. Now let us get the explanation as well. As per this philosophy, that the traveler felt the second path might be a better choice because it looked grassy and less used. It seemed like fewer people had walked on it, which made it more appealing. Okay, for him it was much interesting and even adventurous, that less trodden path. Okay, now in the next lines, what we have, that uh, though as for that the passing there had warned them really about the same, the road not taken. Okay, so the explanation for this would be that even though the second path seemed less used, in reality both paths had been worn down equally by travelers. Okay, it was trodden or it was traveled by travelers only. This shows that the difference between the two choices was not as big as it first appeared. Okay, so the time when you are deciding, that is a very kind of sometimes confusing, or sometimes much more appealing, that yes, this is going to be good, this is going to be good. So there are a lot of confusions at the same time. But when the decision has already been made and the work is executed, so everything feels less appealing, right? So here also the same thing has happened, that this shows that the difference between the two choices was not as big as it first appeared. Okay, so how it first appeared to be, okay, this is going to be nice, no, 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 this is going to be nice, but it was not like that as well. Okay, simply they were different, but in both beautiful aspects. So this is the beauty of this poem. Okay, this is a really famous poem. Everybody, almost who are interested in literature and those who know Robert Frost very well, so they know the significance of this poem, that the philosophy is much more associated with the real life. The metaphors which are used in this poem, poetic language, poem's poetic language, it is much more than a philosophy. So yes, in this poem we got the moral of that, um, to have a unique decision is not always something which is like to be standing out from your pace or anything, but it's interesting that how you decide in life different things, and it has been depicted beautifully in the poem. Hope you found this poem beautiful and interesting, as well as this video. Meet you in some another video. Until then, bye, and thank you so much for watching the video. Have a nice day.